and so I really didn't date inside the church. I dated outside the church. My parents probably didn't know a lot of people I dated, but I dated outside the church more than I dated inside the church until I got married. That was my first church relationship. All right, what was the question? My church experience growing up was special. It was fun. It was different. It allowed me to experience church. I feel like the best way you should. Like, you get to laugh at people in church. You get to go to different churches, have fun. You have some friends at different churches. So you get to go see your friends. And then I was also a PK, so my father was a pastor, the late great John Minor Jr. So I actually enjoyed it. Church was like a second home for me. So it didn't bother me. Of course, growing up, I didn't want to wear skirts all the time, and I didn't want to be in church all the time. But being an adult and looking back, I'm like, I'm grateful for my childhood. I'm grateful for the church experience I did have growing up and the examples I had growing up, and my parents and my church home. So church for me was fun. I liked it. They looked a little different depending on what we were talking about. So with my family, my church home, Christ Tabernacle / Shiloh AOH Church, we were very close knit. It was, we had the lock-ins. My family was very close. My dad made sure the family stayed close. So there was that. So that was the best relationship I had to have as an example. And then, I had friends at different churches, and then of course you had the cliquey people that you didn't worry about. And then dating in the church, I really don't know what that looks like growing up because we were a small church, and so I really didn't date inside the church. I dated outside the church. My parents probably didn't know a lot of people I dated, but I dated outside the church more than I dated inside the church until I got married. That was my first church relationship. My idea of marriage prior to being married, of course, I was going by the example from what I saw in my home first. So I saw two people coming together, working together to further God's kingdom, to support each other, to love each other. They was always together. So I saw that as an example. So that was kind of my idea. Two people come together with the same goal in mind to become one, become a unit, and serve God together. I've heard or I've read where it was the gift is not in the gift, it's in the glory God gets out the gift. So the gift is not the marriage, it's the glory God gets out the marriage. So I wanted to be an example of true marriage, this is what we're trying to work together. We got the same goal in mind, trying to be what we are called to be for God, together, apart, all that good stuff. So it's hard to say you don't have the perfect idea, but you get a little bit of what you saw growing up, and then you got what of course you want the fairy tale, right? You want this happy, we always together, we always in love, we always all up under each other. But then when that don't happen, you be like, wait. But there's work that has to be done in a marriage. It's two parties. You're supposed to be working on yourself as well as being that person to support your other half or your other, partner. So there was that. So it was kind of a little bit of hodgepodge of what in my head I thought going in we were going to be like this power couple of, just doing what God tells us to do and being an actual example to others as to how to be what God calls you to be as a union. I would say the most difficult part about going through divorce in the church would be, besides going through divorce in the church, it's just the fact that you can't get lost in the details. Like, everybody gets so focused on the details as far as why, what happened, what he do, what she do. Everybody gets so lost in that. And as a church, you expect people to be like, oh, my sister or my brother has gone through this traumatic experience. Nobody enters into marriage thinking it's going to end, right? So instead of focusing this like, my sister or my brother needs help, they need support, they need, how can I help them through this healing process? People get so focused on, well, what he do, what she do. And that's the most difficult part of trying to keep your mouth shut, not having to be like, try to defend yourself, defend rumors, defend things that people make up their details when they don't have the details. So trying to navigate through that while trying to heal, while trying to make sure, God, am I doing something wrong? Am I doing this right? So it's a lot of up and downs. You expect so much support from the church, and you do get the, oh, well, I'm praying for you, but you like, I really know you trying to ask me for details. People will call you, be like, I'm just checking on you, but what happened? You like, honestly, that's not what I need. I thank God for my therapist with heart-to-heart counseling. Shout out to Sharice Coleman. But there's that part of what, instead of getting lost in the details, ask me what you can do to support me. So the most difficult part is actually just that, like, not getting the support that you feel like you always need. Well, I thank God for my support system, but you don't always get that support because people are trying to be nosy. When people like try to get the details and get all the deets of what happened, it just makes me feel like you focus on the wrong thing. Like, it hurts my feelings because it's like, I'm going through a traumatic experience. So I think that is most hurtful. Sorry, what was the question?
How do you learn how to heal and protect your safe space in difficult times, such as dealing with disappointment, hurt, and failure, like when dealing with divorce? So how do you learn to heal?
So, again, always trusting God. When you're trying to heal through the process, you're going to have your ups, you're going to have your downs, you're going to have your moments. But really facing what's going on, stop trying to run, because sometimes how you end up in marriage is because you're running from your feelings, you're running from a pain, you're trying to fill the void. And I know that was in my particular case. My father had just passed, and I went from being Bishop's daughter to somebody's wife. And so I was running, trying to fill a void. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with where you are. You have to be honest with what help you need, what support you need. You need to be able to access those support systems that you know you have when you have family and friends like I do, that will love me, hold me down no matter what. You have to appreciate them, go to them when you need that. Seek spiritual counseling, I would say. So I've had so many people that have been reached out to me, and genuine support. Like, I know I talked about, the fake support, but that genuine support has helped me heal. I've had my actual therapist, again, heart-to-heart counseling. Sharice Coleman has helped me through the process of just acknowledging the hurt, because it's so much that you don't want to acknowledge. You get married very loud, and then it's like when stuff happens and you have no other choice, you feel you just go into another spin or tailspin. So just making sure that you are in that place where you can be honest with yourself, honest with the circumstance, honest with where you are, honest with God, I need you. Making sure you open that communication and have that communication with God is the main thing. Making sure you have that safe space with God to start off the day and protect that. Don't let people, even though people might be coming messy, even though people might be coming looking for details, you don't have to give it to them. So, unless you want to, because I want to, clearly. But it's things like that. So, finding the joy out of the experience. I feel as though going through this process, there were so many red flags. There were so many things that I just chose to ignore based on, God, I'm gonna do this. You cool? Okay, I'm gonna do this anyway. So it was kind of those things to make sure you slow down, make sure you're listening, make sure you're actually seeking God. And I'm not talking about a quick like, hey, you with me? Okay, we going. Not that, but honestly seeking God and waiting for a response, because you don't want to be in a situation where you're unequally yoked with someone. You don't want to be in a situation where you two people bleeding on each other. So you have to take the time to listen, to actually seek God, and make sure you pay attention to the response.